somebody saline ले रहा है, कोई ऑक्सीजन मास्क ले रहा है, एक दिन में इतना काम करा दिया, जहाँ मेरा टारगेट था 2 दिन में, अब वो 1 महीना तक हॉस्पिटल में बैठा रहेगा, तो मेरा काम रुक गया। Climb down from the 4th floor, cross the street, for what? To go to the toilet. This topic 4.2, making a socialist society. What happened in Russia? You know how this socialist society, because we saw that after Tsar abdicated, after he surrendered, he went off. And on an emergency, a provisional government was set up, right? A government which is set up on an emergency basis when the former government, quits or surrenders. So provisional government was set up. And even after setting up a provisional government, when Vladimir Lenin, when he comes back from exile in Russia, and he, along with the Bolshevik members, he starts different type of his setting up his various what is that called, April thesis, right? You remember the 3 demand, correct? And when different Soviets starts forming and the number of Soviets starts increasing, then the provisional government, they take strict action against this Bolshevik, against Lenin, so that because Bolshevik was becoming popular and no government, nobody wants to give away or give away their power so easily. Everybody wants to be on power, right? That was what the provisional government, as a result, to stop the popularity of the Bolshevik, the provisional government took various steps, various policies were introduced, various laws were put into place, because of which there was a kind of civil war, right? War started between this provisional government and the Bolshevik members. But at last, majority of the support went to whom? To the Bolshevik, to the Soviets, different councils, different associations. Now, Bolshevik was getting popular support, majority of the support. Now they were establishing much of the control over Russia was under them, under Bolshevik. Now they were setting up a society which was a socialist society, right? Are you getting it? I'm just recapitulating the previous classes. I'm giving you the main bullet points so that you can connect with this topic 4.2, what we are about to discuss now. Because when you want to understand something new, you have to connect back to the history, to the past. What happened? Like if you don't know the previous topic of this, you will not be able to understand that what sir is saying. Right? Up to this much we have discussed. So now how this new socialist society was getting established in Russia. During the civil war, when the civil war was going on, the Bolshevik, they kept most of this industries and banks nationalized, correct? I'm giving next, what did they do was that they also, the Bolshevik, they means the Bolshevik. When I speak they, just understand that's Bolshevik, because mainly now the major parts of Russia, you can say almost all of Russia is under Bolshevik's control, and Bolshevik, they are socialists. So this Bolshevik, they allowed the farmers to cultivate on those land which had already been socialized or which was already confiscated by them, by the Bolshevik, which they took over, and those land were used for collective work, not for any individual's work, not for any single person's benefit, for the benefit of the whole as a society, for collective work, right? This is what we have seen. Next, we also saw the planning system, a new planning system, a centralized. So centralized means uniformity. From one center, everything will be controlled, so that everybody has, is under the same rule, under the same system. Otherwise, different areas, different rule, different systems. So centralized planning was introduced, and the officials, their main target was what? How to increase the economy. How to increase the economy, and they set up 5-year plan, 5-year goal. So the first 5 years, especially we saw from 1927 to 1932, first 5 year, second 5 year from 1933 to 1938. The main aim of this socialist, of this Bolshevik, was to increase the economy. So they took several measures, they introduced several policies in order to increase the economy. Number one, all the prices the government fixed the prices, so that they can promote this industrial growth, because the more the industry, the more the economy, it will give employment, production will increase, people will get jobs, so ultimately it will lead to growth of economy. Especially we saw in the first 5-year plan, that is 1927 to 1932 and 1933 to 1938, the industrial production increased. It increased almost by 100%, correct? Especially in which industries? Especially in case of oil, coal and steel, correct? Industries, 100% increase was there, number one. Next, number two, many cities became factory cities, because if you go back to, if you just go to flashback in the beginning of the chapter, when we started, Russia did not have much of the factories in the beginning. There were only few cities which was industrial cities. You remember two main cities, St. Petersburg, correct? The other one was Moscow, correct? St. Petersburg was later renamed as Petrograd, correct? Very good. So are you getting it? Okay. Now next. Now see, as because of rapid construction, rapid means fast, quick, very quick. You know, when you try to do things quickly, what happens is that stability, that strength, वो हिंदी में बोलते हैं ना मजबूती, अच्छा क्वालिटी नहीं होता है. Now since rapid construction work was taking place, as a result, because of rapid construction, the laborers, the workers, they were suffering. The working condition was very bad because छुट्टी नहीं है, कंटिन्यूस काम करो, बारिश दे रहा है, धूप दे रहा है, काम करो. Especially, in the book it is mentioned, there was a city, the name of the city is Magnitogorsk, a Russian name. I am not so familiar with Russian name. So Magnitogorsk, in that city, they have given an example. There was a construction of a steel plant. Plant here does not mean that, you know, ped podha, factory, industry, steel factory, industry. There was a construction of the steel factory, and it got a steel factory. Steel factory is not a small thing. A steel factory got completed within 3 years. 3 साल में एक स्टील इंडस्ट्री कंप्लीट हो गया. बट यू नो उसका आउटकम क्या था? सिंस इट वाज डन सो क्विकली, द वर्कर्स दोज हु वर वर्किंग देयर, दे लिव्ड अ वेरी हार्ड डिफिकल्ट लाइव्स. नंबर 1, 3 साल में एक स्टील का फैक्ट्री को कंप्लीट कर देना. स्टील का फैक्ट्री है भाई, कोई तुम्हारा प्लास्टिक टॉय कार नहीं है दैट तुम स्क्रू ड्राइवर लेके बना दोगे. 3 साल में कंप्लीट हो गया. So as a result, the workers, they were really facing a very difficult life. And another thing is that more than, or you can say near about 550 times, 550, 3 साल में काम हो रहा है, लेबर्स को जबरदस्ती काम करा रहा है, दिन रात मेहनत करा रहा है. 550 times the work had to be stopped in the first year alone. 3 साल लगा, 3 years it took. In the very first year, 550 times work got stopped. Because in rapid construction work. Now see, for example, I am constructing, say for example, this my institute, okay, where you are taking classes. So here I want this institute to be built within 2 days. Clear? Now I have got limited laborers. If I keep them working from morning till the end of the day, and even after that I don't give them, they're human beings, they're not robot. If they fall ill, sick, next day, instead of completing it in 2 days, it may go up to 2 months, because जब बहुत बीमार हो जाएगा कौन काम करेगा? Are you getting it? So मेरा काम रुक जाएगा. जहाँ मेरा प्लान था कि मैं 2 दिन में ये कंस्ट्रक्शन काम कंप्लीट कर दूंगा, 2 महीना लग गया. क्यों? आज मैंने सारा दिन में इतना काम करवाया लेबर को. I made them work so much that काली राती को nobody is able to come. Everybody is in hospital. Somebody सलाइन ले रहा है, कोई ऑक्सीजन मास्क ले रहा है. एक दिन में इतना काम करा दिया. जहाँ मेरा टारगेट था 2 दिन में, अब वो 1 महीना तक हॉस्पिटल में बैठा रहेगा, तो मेरा काम रुक गया. Are you getting it? Same thing happened 550 times in the first year itself. That work got stopped. And that was not only the condition. In addition to this, plus the living quarters, wherever these workers used to stay, workers जहाँ रहता था, the living quarters, especially in time of winter. You know, Russia is in, if you see the globe, it's somewhere in the northern hemisphere. Okay, so बहुत ठंडा होता है वहाँ पे. During the time of winter, the temperature falls down to -40. At 0 degrees Celsius, water starts freezing. It becomes ice. -40 degree. At such type of temperature in the living quarters where these workers used to stay, what they had to do? They had to climb down from the 4th floor and cross the street in order to go to toilet. Understand the living condition. I repeat, -40 degree winter. Climb down from the 4th floor, cross the street for what? To go to the toilet. That was their living condition. How pathetic it was. So this was the condition. Now what happened as a result? Now this Bolshevik, they tried to do some changes. They introduced this schooling, extended schooling system. they made some arrangement for the factory workers and also for the farmers, so that this factory workers, these farmers, those who want to study, those who want to continue their education, they can enter into universities. Arrangements were made. What arrangements were made? That is not mentioned in specific, but arrangements were made. Okay. Next, for the ladies, women's, I remember women's were also working in factories and all. Crutches were, made into factories, so that crutches means where small children, baby, they are being kept. So crutches were made in these factories. It was established so that women, they can put their children there, and especially they can concentrate in their work. For the women workers, clear? That was another thing. Next introduction which was done was public healthcare, cheap public healthcare, so that the workers can afford. Cheap public healthcare was provided. Right. Next, living quarters. I told you, this from the fourth floor they had to climb down, and after they had to cross the street to go to the toilet. So good, means a good basic standard model living quarters were set up for the workers. Okay, but however, even though all these were done, the effect, the result of all this, everybody did not get. Okay, the effect was uneven. Uneven means unequal, which everybody did not get equally. Clear? Why? Because government sources were limited, resources were limited. Government resources were limited. Now the amount of resources that the government have, only that much they are able to provide in that many areas. What about the other areas? If the resources are not there, how can you provide? So those areas where they could provide, the workers got. In those areas where it wasn't provided, they did not get any facility. Are you getting it? Clear?
Yes, sir.
Just go through, and if you have any doubt, ask me.